great basketball.
Defender to the basket, Jason Tatum.
Be covering pre and post game back on this channel.
Woo! How we doing, guys? Welcome back in. I'm Rob. I'm your host. So the Celtics, they surprised some people. Surprised me. They take Game 4 on the road in Miami to force a Game 5 back in Boston. The Celtics were kind of clicking on all cylinders. It's been a long time since we've seen them play a game like that. They win 116-99. A little game recap for you. Jason Tatum, 33 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He played 42 minutes. Jaylen Brown still struggled, but I think he played a much more complete game. He had 17 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. A little bit. He's still not quite there. He doesn't look 100%. But I thought he was better. Al Horford, much better. 12 points, 4 assists, 7 rebounds. Marcus Smart, 11 points, 6 assists. How about Derek White? 16 points. He only played 27 minutes, Derek White. So eye on that. And then Grant Williams, 14 points, 6 rebounds, including a big-time block on Jimmy Butler. So, hey, listen, what did I say last time I was here? I said we were playing with house money. I expected to lose last game, and I'm not going to lie. I kind of expect to lose Game 5. That's where I'm at right now with this team. Very happy with how they played. I think there's a lot to get into. First of which, Jason Tatum. If we want to even think about making this a series, we need this from Jason Tatum night in and night out, which I think he can do. Jason Tatum, when he is clicking on all cylinders, when he is playing with a purpose, he is the best player in this series. He's a 6'10 forward that can dribble like a guard, shoot like a wing, and attack the basket better than anyone in the league. Just as good as anyone in the league. And defensively, I thought he did a phenomenal job on Jimmy Butler. We need this JT every night if we want to think about coming back. Al Horford, great. Knocking down shots when he needed to knock down shots. We need that Al Horford. I think Al could be considered one of the X factors here because, Joe is showing no signs of going to Rob more than Al. Al, we're going to live or die with Al. Al is going to need to knock down shots. He's been shooting well all year long. The playoffs have been rough. You could say because of those old legs that Al Horford right now is going through that slump because he's old. And, as your legs start to kind of get tired, shooting becomes much harder. So I think that is something that you could seriously consider with Al Horford. However, I thought he shot the ball very well last game. Jaylen Brown, he looks hurt. I don't know what it is. I don't know. He just looks a little hobbled. He looked better last game, like I said a little bit earlier. I'm not worried about Brown or Tatum though. I'm not gonna lie. I think their turnovers have been a little bit concerning. But Miami, that's kind of how they play us. They played us like that last year. We saw the two of them do that. But I think right now my attention is focusing on Al Horford, Robert Williams, and Grant Williams. Those three, because I think those three really make the difference in this series if they're knocking down shots and spacing properly. Grant Williams was phenomenal last game. No question. He knocked down shots. He played physical defense. He played with physicality. He played with purpose. And he came out and he balled. So I think right now where I'm at, focus is now shifted to Game 5. I don't want to really dwindle too much on Game 4. Quite frankly, we should have won Game 3. It was good to get Game 4, right? But I think let's focus just to Game 5, right? If we take Game 5, this series now gets real. Miami didn't look concerned one bit. One bit. And if you ask me, that could bite them in the ass. Here's why. Denver is on 9 days off, no rest, or all rest, 9 days straight. They're going to go to the finals with a week and 2 days of rest and of a life in which you're resting your body. Miami now has to fly back to Boston to play a game 5. They had a closeout opportunity. Boston has looked really, really poor the first 3 games. And I understand Boston's the better team and they shouldn't have been up 3-0 in the first place. And, so what? Boston took 1. If I'm Miami, you couldn't give Boston any life because they are the better basketball team. They have more depth. They have more star power. They have more defensive ability. They have more offensive shot making. They just, right now, are led by a great player in Jimmy Butler and a phenomenal head coach and is putting on a masterclass in Eric Spoelstra. That's what you're seeing right now. So I think Miami potentially blew it. Call me crazy, but I think they did. But again, Boston has life. There's a path to do this thing. False hope? Potentially. Was it false hope? I don't want to get my hopes up, and I'm not going to get my hopes up because here's why. No team has ever come back down 0-3. They haven't showed me anything that leads me to believe they're going to play a consistent 4 games of basketball in a row. Do I think they can do it? Absolutely. But I want to see game 5 first because I think if Boston crumbles, it's in game 5. Only 14 times has a team leading a series that's been 3-0 gone 6 or 7. 14 times. I believe the other 136 have been finished off in 4 or 5. Right? So if Boston wins, and here's the advantage with Boston. It's actually really funny. Most teams down 0-3 didn't have 2 home games, right? So you figure you lose 2 on the road, you lose game 3 at home, and then you're down 0-3 with a home game in game 4. You win game 4, right? Look at the Denver series. That's a perfect example of how 0-3s usually go. Or if you want to go last year, Toronto, Philadelphia. The Sixers were up 3-0, and that went 6. But game 4 is usually played at home, not on the road. Boston now has the luxury of the game 5 is the hardest game to get over. It's proven statistically. It's game 5. We've seen teams win game 4, avoid the sweep, they get gentlemen swept. Boston has the advantage at being at home. However, they have been bad at home all playoffs long. So, what do we expect? I want to hear what you guys think. Game 5, what Celtics do we see? Do we see game 3 Celtics, game 1 through 2 Celtics, or game 4 Celtics? Because right now, I don't know. I can't pick out a version of this Boston Celtics team that I think we're going to see. Is it a coincidence that A-Rod and Jeter were at the game tonight or last night? I mean, hey, listen. There's a first time for everything, people. And I'm not saying it's not possible because a wise man once said anything is possible, as corny as it sounds. But it's tough. And again, I'm not going to give this team the benefit of the doubt. I'm not. I refuse to. They put themselves in such a hole. Justin, leave me alone. Don't you have something better to be doing? Let's put this up here. Justin Lowe is a confirmed Rob fanboy. But You know, again, so game 4, let's talk about the things I liked in game 4 because we should we should talk about game 4. I thought the pace was great. I thought the defensive physicality was up higher. I thought Joe did a good job calling timeouts, which I know that's ridiculous that we even have to address that. But I think that's important. Joe called good timeouts. The scheme was better. I love the Grant Williams usage. Grant Williams is a good basketball player. He should be playing big minutes. 29 minutes for Grant. Love that. Again, love the shooting from Al. That's the Jason Tatum that's so unstoppable. If we see that from JT in game 5, in game 6, and then anything can happen in game 7. Here's the part that worries me. The thing that worries me is a Jimmy Butler masterclass awaiting us. That's a real thing. We saw it in game 6 last year where Jimmy just wills his team to the finish line. Boston needs to contain Jimmy Butler, but at the same time, these role players have been killing us. So I think right now Boston has to pick and choose. What are we going to do? Are we going to die with Jimmy Butler beating us and hope he can do it by himself? Or are we going to eliminate Jimmy Butler from the equation and see if Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love, those guys can knock down their shots? Because I'm not going to lie. I'm tempted just to see if Jimmy Butler can beat us because those guys have been knocking down their shots. And you ought to think, though, at the same time, how much... Sorry, I'm reading Justin. I'm letting Justin control this, even though he's... How much more do these role players have in the tank? They have been phenomenal. Gabe, Vincent, Strus, all of them. They've been great. Let's not act like this isn't how they normally play. They're playing the best basketball of their career through 3 games. Game 4, I don't see Miami's box score. I didn't really pay attention to it. Game 4, Vincent had 17. Caleb Martin's another name I haven't mentioned. He had 16. Adebayo had 10. Strus had 9. Love had 6. Lowry, Zeller had 5. Duncan Robinson had only 2 points. That's a big telltale sign how Duncan Robinson's doing because guarding Duncan Robinson is all effort. Justin, I'll answer your question. What are you asking? Robin, all seriousness, would it make more sense for Al to play the Cody Zeller, Yurtseven? Is that how I said it? Yurtseven minutes, and Al play the Adebayo minutes? Wait, that makes no sense. But I think I get what you're saying. I think right now, offensively, Al gives us that spacing factor where we can kind of attack the paint, and kick out for 3. But defensively, I don't know if Al can hold down the fort against a guy like Adebayo. He is so fast. Personally speaking, yes, I agree. Rob should be playing the Adebayo minutes. If I could make the starting lineup, it'd be Smart, White, Brown, Tatum, Rob. Maybe even put Smart to the bench and put Derek White in there, but that's a conversation for a different day. So yes, but at the same time, I go exactly what you do. You look at game 4. That's your blueprint. Game 4 is your blueprint to success. Just like in that Philadelphia series, game 2 was the blueprint to success. They played great basketball through and through. That was the blueprint. Games 2 and 3. They brought it out game 7. Look at that. Watch film. All right. We did a lot of good things here. What did we do poorly? Where is Miami going to make their adjustments and plan accordingly? You have to continue to get Jason Tatum easy looks. You have to continue to get Derek White involved in the offense because he has been shooting lights out. And I think you got to get Malcolm Brogdon going eventually. There's a lot of Malcolm Brogdon ISO play. I'd love to see him get him some easy layups, some easy open threes. Yes, I agree. Grant was playing great defense. JB and Al finally started playing good defense. It starts on the defensive side of the ball. It does. Miami's offense is so dependent on whether or not they're making shots. And yes, I get it. Everyone's offense, it's a make or miss league. What I mean by that, they don't have much outside of jump shooting. They don't have a lot of incredible tough shot makers, a bucket getter. Butler's really their only bucket getter. And even still, I think Jimmy Butler really operates in a 15-foot parameter. And if you can contain and box up that 15 feet, life gets a little bit harder for Jimmy Butler. So there's that aspect. Defensively, I think the name of the game right now is you got to contain those role players, play physical with them. End of the day, they are what Bill Parr says is it says you are what your record says you are. This is a 45-win ball club. We're a 57-win ball club. If we stick to our game plan, if we play our best brand of basketball, a Game 5 win is in the play. It's in the books. It can happen. Game 5 tells me a lot. Because if Boston comes out and they run through Miami, I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, if they wipe the floor with Miami, then you got a serious series right now. Because if Miami some way, somehow loses game 6, and you're sending the Boston Celtics back to TD Garden for a game 7, man, oh man, are the Miami Heat in trouble. They have to close it out game 5. You cannot give the Boston Celtics life. When Jason Tatum smells blood, life gets difficult for Miami. Tatum looked comfortable in game 4. And you could argue maybe Miami, took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. Maybe so. Maybe so. But if you give Boston life, Boston will make you pay. And I think we could see that here. It's the road, the path opened up a little bit. It did. It just did. And it's game 5. I mean, every win's a must-win game. And if the Celtics have shown me anything, they show up for must-win games. Tatum's 5-1 in his career in game 7. That one loss, LeBron James. It takes the best to beat the best. I'm expecting a dogfight in game 5. If you want my opinion. Dogfight. I think it goes to overtime. But the thing that scares me is I don't think we win a close game. I don't. But at the same time, if you look at this series, it feels like Miami has had everything go their favor. They're making their shots. The loose balls are going their way. At what point does just maybe, does that luck switch? Right? Is it possible? You notice that we finally ran plays instead of running iso ball and jacking up threes. We broke that simple 2-3 zone. Caleb Martin had 2. Yes. No, you're right. T, you are so right, bro. It was execution. That was the difference. They actually had a game plan, believe it or not, right? Who would think in the Eastern Conference Finals you need a game plan? But you're right. You nailed it. Boston went down 9 points twice in this ballgame. Twice. They had 2 opportunities that they could have said, you know what, we're done. Screw this. I'm getting my money. I'm taking my nice trip to Cancun. I'm packing my bags. They could have said that twice, and one of which was in the second half. They didn't. Credit goes where credit's due, but you're still down 3-1. So how do we do that, right? What do we do? If Boston figures out that 2-3 zone, good luck to Miami. You can man us up. Good luck. It's just like that. Hauser, I want to talk about Hauser. I love Hauser. If you've been following me this podcast since last year, you know how much I love Sam Hauser. You just know. But I don't think he should be playing big time minutes. Are you coming in? Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to address something real quick. I love Sam Hauser. But I think defensively, I don't think you can waste him and have him running and chasing Duncan Robinson around the 3-point line. Because I think when you do that, you tire him out. And Al Horford's a perfect example. What happens when you're tired? Your legs get a little bit, your shot gets a little bit off, right? You're hitting the front of the rim. You're struggling to get the ball up. I don't think there's a rotational spot for Hauser right now. I think Grant Williams is the key. Each series, it's been a different role player. Round 1, Derek White against the Hawks. Round 2, Malcolm Brogdon against the Sixers. Round 3, Grant Williams against the Heat. Grant can shoot the ball well. He's been able to put the ball on the floor without turning it over. Good. He plays physical defense. He spaces the floor well. He plays with he plays with a physicality that not a lot of guys on this team play with. Boston could easily be up in this series 3-1 right now. Games 1 and 2, we were winning by double-digit points in the second half. Couple plays, couple fuck ups, right? And it led to the Heat going up 3-0. For some reason, this team can beat the Heat 4 times in a row. They can.
What's up? Just popping in. I'm at work.
I'm changing your name real quick because your name's not Rob. Let me hear it. What do you got to say?
I think that was Joe Mazzulla's best coach game as a Celtic. Maybe other than that game 7. I think down the stretch, when it came to substitutions, who was in the game and who was out, I thought Robert Williams playing in the final stretch is something that we haven't seen. And I was really glad that we saw that. It was also really relieving to see Jason Tatum have the type of game he had in that fourth quarter. He was yet to make a field goal in the fourth quarter in these conference finals. And that's a telling sign of, why you're down 0-3. That's not the sole reason, but when your star player who just scored 51 points in a game 7 has 0 field goals in the fourth quarter, you kind of figure you're probably not ahead in that series. I think the only fault, if I'm going to nitpick, and I tweeted this out earlier, was the fact that Jason Tatum wasn't on the court to start the fourth quarter. I get it. You got to get his rest, but at the same time, your season's on the line. You're essentially, you got to play those final 12 minutes out. But I thought Mazzulla did a great job when Miami cut the lead down to 5. Mazzulla called a timeout. He didn't let the Celtics falter without Tatum. He realized he needed to get Tatum in. Miami was running a zone. It forced 2 turnovers and an air ball by Derek White in the corner. Then an after timeout play drawn up, Tatum at the free throw line, playing that midsection in a zone, caught the ball at a sweet spot and hit the free throw line jumper. And I thought from there, Boston just kind of coasted to the finish line. It just kind of was up from there. So that's really important to give Joe credit, because I think, not so much just us, because I feel like we have given Joe the benefit of the doubt here at Celtics Talk Weekly, rookie coach, youngest coach in the league. We've definitely given him his credit, but at the same time, I thought that was a very well coached game, and the Celtics could have bent their knee, Rob. They could have gone home.
Absolutely. I got a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
You see Miami.
Yep.
How they acted, how they went about losing this game, kind of came across as very cocky, very stuck up. Right? They're up 3-0. They can kind of get to be. But don't you think that maybe, just maybe, that what made Miami so good was their chip on the shoulder they played with? Do you think that maybe with Miami going up 3-0, their heads got a little big, and maybe, just maybe, these guys, Gabe Vincent, Strus, are a little in over their head because the talent gap's there?
Yeah, yes and no. I would have a lot of confidence being up 3-0 as well. But at the same time, 3-0 is 3-0. But let's not act like Miami has just absolutely mollywopped and waxed the floor with us. The first 2 wins were within 2 or 3 possessions. And I will admit we got waxed in game 3. I think we can all admit the Celtics just quit in that game. They put up a fight for a quarter and a half, and then for some reason let go of the rope, and they never tried to get back in the game. But at the same time, I saw this coming. I didn't see Miami being up 3-0, but I saw this series being somewhat successful for Miami in terms of Miami's going to play Boston tough. It doesn't matter the talent-wise, either team has. Miami's always a tough matchup for the Celtics, but you got to give Miami credit. You're down 3-1. Don't let the Celtics get hot. You got to take it just like Miami, though. Miami has to take it one game at a time too, because with how good Boston is and how what the talent level is, all of a sudden a 3-1 is all of a sudden 3-2, and a 3-2 is all of a sudden a 3-3. So things can change quick. And you mentioned it earlier on the live when I was watching before I joined. Like Boston has a really, really good shot. And if they win tomorrow night, Miami has to be sitting back and saying, excuse my language, but oh shit. Like, yeah, we're going back home where we've been very successful this postseason, but we could have swept them 3 nights ago when we were up 9 in that fourth quarter. But we let our foot off the gas. We let Boston get momentum. And now the second best team in the league in the regular season, and currently the highest seed remaining in the playoffs, is on a hot streak.
Absolutely. And again, I don't know what to expect in Game 5.
I
don't.
That's the thing. Is we've seen this throughout the playoffs in Boston, where I feel like, especially in that Philadelphia series, where Game 1 it was like, oh my gosh, we lost without Embiid, and then Game 2 rolls around and we beat them, we smoke them by 40 points, and we're like, okay, like that was elite, but what can we take from these 2 games? I feel like that's similar to this Miami series, where it's like we got mollywopped Game 3, and then we waxed the floor with them in Game 4. So it's just kind of like, what team shows up? What team shows up? What about the Game 1 Celtics, which honestly, that probably, other than Game 4, was their best game of the series if they had not collapsed so badly in that third quarter. Right? Like the Celtics Game 1 played very solid basketball if it wasn't for giving up 46 points in that third quarter. So it's all about, again, I've repeatedly said this on the post-game shows. I said this all over our stories. Who wants it more? Who wants it more? Boston clearly wanted it more. They needed it more than Miami. But you can't let Boston get hot, like you said, Rob.
Yeah. And I think it goes to the pettiness of the Miami Heat. I think that's a factor here. Because not only, let's look at this from the Miami's perspective, because this is all from Boston's perspective, right? So Miami's perspective, you're 1 game closing it out. 1 game at home. The guys who you could be matching up with if you win, the Nuggets, are sitting home right now on a 9-day break, a vacation, an all-star break is what they get. You're up 9 in the second half. You don't close it out, right? So not only for a Celtics fan, I'm happy we close it out, but for a Heat fan, are you kidding me? You couldn't close it out at home against a team that's down 0-3. I get it, right? Shouldn't be up 3-0 in the first place. Good Boston team. But I'll tell you what. I'm gonna tell everyone this. If Boston wins Game 5,
GG?
Not GG. They are
in trouble.
In trouble.
Yeah. In jeopardy, maybe.
Because right now, Boston's still down 3-1. They've never been in a 3-3 situation and won in a while. I believe the last time was in the Bird era, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a while.
But if you let us go down 3-2 with the Game 6 on the road,
we got like a fetish for that.
Does that sound familiar?
2 straight years.
And I get it. We got to take it 1 game at a time. And right now, I don't have much confidence in the Boston Celtics. I don't. I love them. I support them. Hell, I'll take a bullet for the Boston Celtics. But my confidence level in the Boston Celtics, I'm going to be in the house for Game 5. But I'm going to be shaking in my boots the whole damn time because I'm going to be nervous for Game 5. But I'll tell you what, Justin. if we're going back to Miami for a game 6, I don't know if Miami's role players can step up when it matters most against a Boston team that you gave energy, you gave life to. You woke them up.
Right.
At the same time, how many times have we said, "Oh my God, Boston, they've been woken up"? The right. So at the same time, we don't know. Game 5 needs to happen first.
Right. I
My
think
expectation for game 4 was we lose. They proved me wrong. My expectation for game 5, let's see. I don't have one yet.
I think with game 4 is I think it was just more one of those like we could have folded, and when we did fold in that third quarter, we could have gone home, and Tatum and Brown could have said F it. Smart, Rob, Derek White, Malcolm Burke, they all could have said screw it, but they didn't. They want to win. They know what's at stake, and they know what it takes to get back to the NBA Finals, and they know that this, one of the better regular seasons in franchise history, in recent franchise history, as far as win total, we know that this run to the Eastern Conference Finals, back to back, 4 out of the last 6 years, we know that none of that matters unless we win 3 more games. And Boston knows that. They want it. They wanted it game 4. They clearly didn't want it enough in game 3.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think this whole don't let us win thing, I don't think that comes off as cocky to other franchises, to people who aren't paying attention, to people who don't know what the reference is back to the 04 Red Sox. They might not know. They might think it's cocky, but at the same time, we have to remember here that when the Celtics are on, game 4, Celtics clear Miami. Celtics absolutely clear Miami. And I love the Heat. I do. I think the Heat are a fun team to watch. I don't think it's fun when they're beating us, but at the same time, the respect is there. And Boston goes in and wins tomorrow. Okay. You take a step back and you say, okay, 3-2, we've been in this position before. It doesn't guarantee us a victory, but the Celtics have put themselves essentially back into the series. 3-2 is back into the series. You give yourself a shot. Celtics have proven 2 years in a row they can go in and get their way in Miami. Doesn't matter what the Heat's home record is. They've proven that they can go in and win in Miami. You know what they haven't proven, Rob? That they can win at home.
They have not proven.
Win at home. I get it. Closed it out. Game 7 against Philadelphia. What happened before that? Game 5, lost. What happened before that? Game 5, Atlanta, lost. What happened Game 6, NBA Finals, lost. What happened Game 5 to Milwaukee, or who was it? Milwaukee.
4? Let's talk Game 4 is the NBA Finals.
Yeah, but we lost Game 6 at home as well. And then Game 5 against Milwaukee, lost. Like, you got to win. The season's on the line when you're at home. Clearly, Celtics say, screw it, we're not showing up. Season on the line on the road. Oh, yeah, we're the best team in the league. We're going to come in here and mollywop you. That can't be the mentality. You have to win in front of your home crowd.
I'd prefer they lost in Game 6, quite frankly. They owe it to the Celtics fans. You can't lose. You can't have your season end on the road again.
But that's the thing. It's like, oh, you get Celtics fans have been okay at bet. It's like, well, give us something to cheer about at home. Like, you guys haven't given us anything to cheer about. That sounds really effed up. I don't mean it like that.
Well, Game 6 at home against Miami last year.
6 at home, of course.
Game 6 at home, a chance to go to the finals for the city to celebrate, and you lose.
Yeah, Miami last year. You're right. That happened as well. Yeah.
So, again, if you listen to our most recent podcast, what did I talk about with the home thing? They get comfortable. You go home. If you're a college student, you come home from college, right? You're back with your mom. You're back with your parents. You might give them your laundry. She's gonna cook you a meal, right? It's comfy. It's nice. Your home makes you feel safe, and it makes you feel complacent. A lot like playing in the Celtics, how they're approaching the TD Garden right now. They come home. They get complacent. Hell, I guess their parents are cooking them meals, and it's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's been cooking them meals at the TD Garden.
So my thing is if you're Boston, go back and look at games 1 and 2. Go back and look at Game 5 against Atlanta, Game 5 against Philly. Even stay within the Miami series. Go back to games 1 and 2 and game 6 last year.
Yeah.
You let all of those games, you let Miami walk in and have their way with you on your home court, in front of your home fans, on the Eastern Conference Finals. Don't let that happen. Do not let that happen. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose in 5. I don't want to lose in 6. But you got to win at home. You have to defend the parquet. If you go, you win game 5, and you at least show a fight in game 6, you could say, you know what? We made it a series when we were down bad the most. We fought back in it. Okay, we dissect it from there. But if you go in, give us a really shitty and effortless performance or lack of effort performance at home, we have problems. We really do. Finishing 4 and 6 at home is ridiculous.
When Boston plays for 48 minutes, and I'm talking plays, when they're engaged they were engaged for 48 minutes last night. Miami basketball is a game of runs, right? You're gonna go down. It's gonna happen. But when Boston's engaged for 48 minutes, they're unbeatable. You won't beat them. You're not beating them. We haven't seen it. Let's look at every loss this year, right? In the playoffs. Let's go through it. Game 3 in Atlanta, were we engaged?
No.
Game 5 against Atlanta, were we engaged for 48 minutes? No. Game 1 against Philly, were we engaged for 48 minutes?
We weren't. No, not even a half.
Game 4 against Philly, were we engaged for 48 minutes? No. We went down 18.
Yeah.
Game 5 against Philly. Nope.
Oh, that might have been one of the worst.
Yeah, game 1 against Miami. Nope, we had that third quarter. Game 2 against Miami. Nope, we had that last 6 minutes. When Boston's engaged, locked in for 48 minutes, they don't lose. But for some reason, they can't get locked in every single game. It's a mental thing. It's like, just stay. If you get locked in, if you stay engaged, if you just do what you do and know how to do, you win. And Tatum said it. He spoke on it. He said sometimes he feels that he's underperformed because he feels like he's not playing freely and he's not having fun. But when he goes out there and has fun, he plays phenomenal. Dude, right. You're down 3-1. You've been the laughingstock of the NBA for the past 2 weeks. You have nothing to lose. You're at rock bottom. Go out there and just hoop. Right. Go have fun. Do what you love to do and see where it takes you. Don't play for the comeback. Play for your freaking pride. And I bet that gets you farther.
Right. Well,
if you go one game at a time at this thing, 1 minute at a time, one possession at a time, and you're engaged every possession, every minute, every game, every quarter, you could shock the world. You could. Yeah. This team could. If that happens, and that's a big if.
Look, I have to go. I have to go close up shop. But
okay. Well, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me.
I will say one thing. I do have hope in this team, and I understand. It was one game. You know why I have hope in this team? Because, like I said earlier in the show, down 9, about halfway through that third quarter, felt like everything was going for Miami. Max Strus misses a shot, gets his own rebound at the top of the key, and hits a 3 over Tatum. Or Tatum blocks the shot, Strus got it back, and then he hit the 3. Like everything was just collapsing. Boston did not give up. Boston did not want their season to end. They knew it couldn't end there. And they put their foot, the pedal to the metal, and they turned what was a back-and-forth nail-biting game into an absolute domination where we ended up seeing Peyton Pritchard, Luke Cornett, Mike Muscala minutes towards the end. That was incredible. An 18-3 run in that quarter. I mean, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So, yeah, that does give me hope. But the Celtics, in the best way I think I could put the Celtics, is that what they are best at is being consistently inconsistent. So I think that's honestly like the perfect way to describe this team. But if they can stay, if they don't get too complacent, and if they can just stay engaged and locked in from the very tip, that doesn't mean they have to lead the whole game. That doesn't mean they have to blow them out. But if they stay together, they realize the task in the hand. And like Joe Mazzulla said in Game 7, you have to stay in the moment. Nothing else matters right now than what's happening right now in this moment. Boston can get this done. They still, down 3-1, have an amazing opportunity. They have to go get that. And you figure you're going to get Miami's best punch. You just handed Miami their first home loss of the postseason. You just handed Miami a loss and a chance to extend the series. They're going to be pissed. They are going to want to end your season on the parquet and raise up that trophy, that conference finals trophy, on your home court. They're going to be practicing the ceremony before the game on the Celtics home court. I hope Tatum is shooting around when that happens. Like last night, 2 nights ago, LeBron James was practicing, and they were doing the ceremony. But for now, we can't focus on Denver, and neither can Miami, because this series isn't over, Rob. That's all I have to say. I'll talk to you later tonight and on the stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks
so
for coming on. See you.
Peace.
So he makes a couple good points. One of them is hope. This idea the Celtics fan have right now of hope. Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have hope? I don't. I don't. I have false hope right now. Because hope's there, but it's false hope. Game 5 win is real hope. Because again, you got to look at the full picture. I am a huge, right? Come on. Like I'm a big, you guys know me, right? Biggest Celtics fan. I'm always positive. But you got to look at the full picture here. Game 4, Miami kind of let it slip away. They kind of just, we're up 3-0. Let's get comfortable. Could be a mistake on their part, right? Boston did a great job. Boston did their thing. Hell, Boston took advantage of it, and they gave us life. End of the day, you're still down 3-1. It's not quite a series just yet. It's a series once you've put this thing to 6. Then I'm like, okay. Yep. This thing's going game 6. You mean to tell me we got a game 6 in someone else's home floor? We're on the road for game 6? Hold up. What does that sound like? Anyone got any answers? Yeah. Yep. Jason Tatum. That's what it sounds like. But win game 5 first. You got to win game 5. But, again, what did I say? There's hope. Just right now, it's false hope. It's false hope. Game 5 win? Shit, that's real hope. And I want real hope, man. I want real hope. Thing about Denver, I want to address this. I'm not going to lie, Denver looks like the most locked in right now. You're right. But I'll tell you what. Denver has to play a Boston Celtics team that just finished off and completed a down 0-3 comeback. It's a lot of momentum for Boston. It's a lot of momentum for Boston. Mind you, we're going to take it one game at a time. It starts at the Garden tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8:30 against the goddamn Miami Heat. But it has to happen eventually, right? It does. So why not us? That's where I'm at right now. Why not us? But I think I've gone through the logistics a lot, analytically speaking. I talked about Tatum, Horford, Brown in game 4. What I want to see in game 5, I talked a little bit about that. Offensively, again, I'll run through it. I want to see Tatum attacking. He is so good when he's so good. It's funny, right? Any of you guys have played basketball, if you play basketball, you know. You got on the court, you're warming up for a game, you're shooting around, whatever it may be. If you start shooting threes, right, as your first shots, your warm-up shots are threes, it's going to be rough. Not a lot of guys can do that. Some guys can, but not a lot. You start close. Get that form down, get the rhythm down, see the ball through a couple times, right? You see the ball through a couple times, right? You take a step back, right? Now you're shooting free throws. You make a couple free throws, your form's feeling good. All right, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna start taking top of the key threes, and then you move. It's so obvious that Tatum's like that in the game, right? Like it's obvious that Tatum is like that when he plays. When Tatum gets to the hoop first, gets a couple layups. Okay, you saw a couple in confidence there. Then you see him. He goes to that mid-range shot, the little post fade. We saw it in Game 7 against Philly. He progressively starts in, and then his game works best when he's pushing out, not when he starts out and then tries to go in. Because so many times we see Jason Tatum try to start the game hot from 3. It's not falling. Okay, I'm going to attack. But your rhythm's off. You're already mentally pissed off at yourself because you've missed 4 threes, right? Tatum needs to start inside, play outside. Derek White, he needs White, Brown, Brogdon, Smart, those four guards. Defense. Get timely buckets. You do that. Let JT take you the rest of the way. Jaylen Brown, I want to see a little bit more from you offensively. Take care of the ball. I like what you've been doing on defense in game 4. Al, Rob, Grant, space the floor properly. Play physical with Bam. If you're switched on to Jimmy, don't let him get to his spot. Force the ball out of his hands. Let someone else beat you. Mazzulla, I need timeouts. You can't let the bleed, and you're going to be in the Garden. The fans are going to let you hear it if you're not calling timeouts. Call timely timeouts. Stick to the game plan. Keep your team level-headed. Keep their focused on one game at a time. Celtics fans, what do we need to do? Bring the damn energy. Comeback is looming. It starts Thursday night at the Garden. I'm going to be in house if you're there. Let's make some noise, guys. Thank you so much for joining me in. I've been having a lot of fun doing these little, one-person post-game, I guess you could say. Post games are it's so hard. It's been hard recently between people moving out of school and graduating and work and these late starts with the games. It's really hard to get the whole post game crew together after the game. So let me know how you're liking these check-ins, these little hour shows I've been doing the day after. Quite frankly, I love interacting with you guys. I love talking C's. Let me know what you think on Instagram, right? Hit me up on my DMs at Celtics Talk Weekly. Maybe you want to see it in the off season. I'll talk all NBA. I won't just talk C's. It can be everything. But again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us. We've been popping off on Instagram. So hopefully, I'll be talking to you guys Friday after the game, and we could be potentially. Geez, I just stuttered. We could potentially be going back to Miami for a game 6. But again, starts Thursday night at the Garden. Until next.